everyone, and welcome back to one of my videos. Today I'm just going to talk about a fairly serious matter that has been arising in MicroVolts, and it is the matter of the game being pay to win. Now, let's talk about the recent update. So, there's been an update today, on the day I upload this video, and there's a lot to discuss about. So, we've got new content that is partially needs rock tokens to buy, and we've also got a new map available, which, as you can see, it's fairly popular right now, and it is the beach map. So, let's go ahead and find all the rooms and start observers mode. So, it is basically a sniping map, and there is this one big choke point in the middle, which is basically exactly the same as bitmap. So, not really that much to complain about, besides the incessant and absolutely horrendous English on the packaging. But other than that, it is an interesting map. It doesn't have any reused models, and it's fresh with new colors. So, other than the cash items I have to complain about in a minute, this update is fairly satisfying. Now, here's a real problem. So, let's talk about the history of MicroVolts. Now, when it came to open beta, there were no RT items, which is the cash in this game, and it is rock tokens. So, in the beginning, there wasn't any, and then when it advanced into full release, now I wouldn't say it was pay to win then. There are two forms of pay to win. There is the straight out pay to win, and that is exclusive cash items or cash bonuses that can only be available and obtained through real life money. Let's say I have an item that is 50% stronger than the original in-game cash item, and I can only get that with cash. Now, that is the straight out pay to win, and it's just not balanced. It is way better. So, let's go ahead and touch a bit on the other style, which is the pay to skip. And the pay to skip is basically paying real life money for having bonuses that will get you ahead into the game. Like, for example, you've got League of Legends is an example of pay to skip. Like, you have to play as many games in order to get the same stuff as the in-game free players. Now, if you're asking me, I much prefer to stick with the pay to skip style, but ever since it has advanced from being into open beta to full release, and then with the capsule update, this has just become pure pay to win. Now, let me explain how this works in MicroVolts. So, when the capsule was first introduced, a lot of us didn't know any better, and we had things like the Duke, the Predator, the Gold Rifle. Now, some of these we know are now pretty overpowered, but back then, there wasn't many capsule items that really, really made this game very, very pay to win. So pay to win, it's so prominent that even the players that step into the game for the first 5 minutes can see. Now, with that update came with the upgrades, and it kind of balanced the game, so a lot of people weren't very dissatisfied. So you could upgrade a component of the aspect of the weapon that would make it the same as the advanced version. Now, I was absolutely fine with that, but then we have the introduction of this baby, the coupon shop. Now, these weapons, the advanced weapons, they're 30 days. I'm absolutely fine with that. I don't care. But you have now a side incentive for rolling the capsule, which already sucks enough money out of your wallet. if you would like to say that. And we have the introduction of these things, the god weapons, that were way, way better than the capsule weapons. Like, I wouldn't mind if the coupon shop contained weapons that were slightly weaker than the capsule originals, because coupons are basically a way for you to want to spend more on the capsule. And I don't think that the coupons were supposed to be a goal that you were supposed to achieve when you were rolling the capsule. And it's not meant to be something that is the main goal of rolling a capsule. It's meant to be something like a side quest, for example. And it's an incentive. And what incentives would give you weapons that are more prominently powerful than the capsule counterparts? Now, my biggest complaint about these weapons, and the strongest weapons, these are the Hermes and the Zeus. Now, I have the biggest problem with these weapons. For the Hermes, rockets generally don't need that much of an aim anyway, and combining the blast radius and the bullet speed and the power, the Hermes packs enough of a punch so you can just click into the general area of an enemy and get kills. Like, before the nerf, you didn't even need to swap, and it would shoot faster than when you swapped. Now, to me, that is absolutely ridiculous. What kind of game would have items that were cache exclusive, that were even more powerful than a generation of cache exclusive items? Now, I don't know many games that partake in this system, and let's say, for example, in this game, the Potato Prime. Now, the previous rockets, which were the Duke, I had no problem with them at all, because they had something that lacked in them. To make a weapon that is balanced, they have to have something that lacks in what they exceed. So, let's say the pocket rocket has a lot of power, a lot of blast radius, and a lot of bullet speed, but that is made up with a low firing rate and with only 2 ammo per clip. Now, for the Mimic, it is very fast, but it has low power, low blast radius, and low bullet speed, and it's like very, very spammable. Now, we've got the Pound, which is the most balanced, and there's not a real drawback in it, but it is enough so that it's not unbalanced, per se. Now, let's move on to the Bazooka Gun Insane, Bazooka Gun Bonkers, and Potato Prime series. So, the stats of these are absolutely overwhelming. We've got the Bazooka Gun Insane having a 523 power, 430 firing rate, which converts into swapping rate. Not really. I mean, it kind of, there is something that is swapping rate, which is your weapon change speed and firing rate, and firing rate almost always reflects on it unless it's something that's bugged. Now, the Bazooka Gun Insane shoots as fast as the Mimic. Now, to me, with the insane bullet speed it already has, compared to my advanced pocket rocket, which is on projectile speed, it literally has only 5 less, and I don't even need to upgrade it. And the blast radius is exactly the same. Now, it even has more power, and it shoots faster, so you could say everything is better than my advanced pocket rocket. Now, I don't see how that is not pay to win. Now, let's move on to this update. Let's move back onto this update again. Now, for this update, we got a bunch of capsule items, and sure, the game has to make money, that is understandable, and the game is not in a situation where, well, they're not exactly poor, and they're not exactly rich either, so they do want money, and it's understandable that they want money in order to fund this game. Now, what I want to touch on is customer interest. Now, most players like free things. It is human nature to like free things. We're not asking for a lot. We're asking for a couple of MP parts, couple of MP weapons here and now. And we don't want things that are remodeled, renewed. For example, the dig. That was never supposed to come out. Why would the MP capsule relic, the dig, come out as a generally more powerful weapon than everything else? Now, this is not pay to win. This is a new generation of items. This is just pure imbalance. Because the dig is more powerful than Thunder in every aspect, and that makes no sense to me whatsoever. Now, let's move back onto the capsule, shall we? So, we've got the steampunk mix that just came in, and this screams pay to win. Capsule weapons in the past would have generations of capsule items. So let's say you had the Elegant Pandora and the Ringmaster Pandora. The Ringmaster Pandora would go first, and then it would be gone, and then you had the Elegant Pandora, and there would be generations where one set would be removed and another set would be implemented. Now, I don't see why you should have an old generation of items mixed into a bundle so that you can make people spend more money to get the things that were in the past. Now, these should be exclusives. This is not... I'm not talking about pay to win here. I'm just talking about how Rock Hippo Productions, the publisher of MicroVolts, is sucking out money dry from the players of MicroVolts' wallets. And to me, that makes no sense whatsoever. Why would that be in the case? And the pirate weapons, they were 2 generations ago, and they're still all available in one bundle. Now, let's move back on to the Mr. Pink and Yellow. This was actually originally in a bundle and was just reimbursed. Now, why RHB would make you spend more money in order to get more money and separate things from not in bundles when they were in bundles before? It doesn't make any sense. Now, another big complaint I have is the Home Team swimsuit. This is an MP capsule relic that many players spend almost in the millions of MP in order to get this set. Now, some people are very proud they have this set. I mean, I don't have this set, but I understand where they're coming from. How an MP capsule exclusive that was removed is now back into the game, available in cash with your wallet. Now, let's talk about the sales in this game. Now, about a year ago when the capsule first came out, there were sales every 2 months. And now the sales have decreased. And what does that tell you? It tells me that the game doesn't want people to spend any less money and wants to spend more money so that they can get more money. And that tells me they're doing something wrong, because their profits are dropping. Now, if it doesn't spell out what RHB should do, I don't know what will. Because that is ridiculous, and it just shouldn't be. Now, let's go on to the Clan War bug. Now, there's been a bug going on where you had to have an order of players, a certain order of players, specific one, in order not to crash. And it was a bug that's been in for around 3 updates now, and I'm not quite sure if it's still there or not. Now, I kind of don't understand why it hasn't been fixed yet. It has been 3 updates. If the game was professional enough and really wanted to cater to the people who don't have the wallet capacity to spend all their money on this game, enough to fund it well, they're not being catered to. And the customer interest right now, the demand is an all-time high, and they are not getting up on par with that demand. They are not flushing out content that we want. We don't want a bitmap version number 2. We don't want stupidly overpowered new generation MP items. We want something that is not pay to win and does not scream pay to win. And I understand that RHB do not have power to necessarily have what they want and have their way for each update. But for the Korean developers, does it make any sense for a game to go pay to win? Let's look at other games, for example. Now, I've had experience with a game called Tails Runner, and that everything was just cash items, and that screamed pay to win because you could get characters and items that were stronger, that were exclusive, which is the same thing in MicroVolts, and it doesn't make any sense. Now, let's look at Pandora, for example, with the parts. As you can see, as I'm looking through all of this, there is nothing that labels new. No MP parts, no RT parts. Now, I don't really care about the RT parts because they don't give that big of a bonus, even though they do give a pretty prominent bonus. So, with the MP items, we haven't had any for 2 years, since full release. Actually, an update since full release, I mean. So, it was the Toy Fleet update that brought us all these nice, fancy new MP items for Pandora and Chip, and it was one of the best updates so far because it wasn't an update that screamed pay to win, and the MP players had not that big of a disadvantage anyway, so it wasn't enough to complain about pay to win. It was more like pay to skip. And pay to get some bonuses, but not enough to spell pay to win in big, bold, capital letters. And it makes me wonder about the future of this game, and how far it's gonna go before it will be forced to shut down, because I, as a player, have not spent any cash in this game for 3 months, and I've just lost interest. The game is not coming out with new content that makes me want to play. It's all about the cash. If you don't have a wallet, you don't survive in this game. You cannot go through this game without getting bored, getting frustrated that you don't have any cash. And to me, that is the definition of pay to win. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is one of the worst games I have ever experienced in pay to win in all my game history. Now, I don't know what more words need to be said about this matter, but hopefully the balance update will come soon and we will get what we want, and we players will not suffer pay to win anymore. It's an impossible task, it's an impossible request, but so far, this game is disappointing, and it is straight up pay to win. And that's pretty much all I have to say for this game. Now, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.